הוציא את המסטיק מהפה. סימון דודק. Okay, we are about to go live, and we are going to go here on Facebook and go live on Facebook, and then over here we are going to go live on YouTube.
Cool.
Hello, everyone. Let's give it another minute or so until we get some people maybe coming over here to join us to the live stream. Today, it really is a miracle. I'm here with Eliyahu
Hey guys.
Kraus. He's an author, teacher, and a musician. And he wrote a book called
Yeah, this one. It's called How to Be a Ninja of Life.
How to Be a Ninja of Life.
Illustrated by Teresa Brecken. She did a great job, and we're going to talk about this story today a little bit. Yeah, it's really nice.
And exactly. So this is the second podcast that we are doing together. And this podcast name, as we all know, is Influencer Mindset. And the idea is that we are all influencers. We all have something to give to the world that it's unique to us. And through this podcast, we want to also invite people that are already influencers that are influencing the world in a positive way, which Eliyahu Kraus is one of those people. Obviously, he wrote the book and he works with children and many more. Also, we have Dr. Yechiel Harari that's coming, and we have, God willing, more influencers that's going to join us and share their ideas and special way for them to influence the world in their own way, in with their mission. So Eliyahu is here with us to share more. We are calling this episode Ninja of Life Part 2. And Eliyahu is going to share with us a little bit more about the story, a little bit more depth. And we're going to really try to dive in to the ideas that Eliyahu wants to share with us. The ninja idea, again, it's pretty revolutionary. You're talking about a concept and mindset to be faster, to the point, sharp, work hard, very disciplined, extreme discipline, and many more things. But now I want Eliyahu to share with us. So, Eliyahu, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Uzi. Good to be here. Good to be back. Last episode, we spoke a little bit about how being a ninja of life, it's not a stage that you get to. It's a decision that you make right now. I want to be a ninja of life. What does that mean? It means that you're careful with your word. If you say something, you're going to do it. But it also means that you're on a constant peak of growth, which will include falls. But when those falls happen, you don't stay in them. You pick yourself back up. You go, okay, it happened. And you keep going.
And it's okay to fall. I mean, it's a human thing.
It's part of growing. You can't really grow unless you fall and then you get back up stronger. Because if you're just going like this the whole time perfectly, there was I think I told that story last time, where the guy says to the teacher says to the father, your son's not doing so well. We should get him out of here. He's like this and that, and he's all over the place. And the father said, well, I'm a surgeon, a cardiologist, and when it goes like this, that means the person's dead. When it goes like this, you want that. That means they're alive. So you have to fall in order to build yourself back up.
Exactly.
And being a ninja of life is understanding that, accepting it. And then we spoke about a few tricks of how to keep yourself moving, where you give yourself an assignment that there's no excuse that you'll fail. For example, when you wake up, stretching for 10 seconds, breathing for 10 seconds, something that you'll do for sure. While you're brushing your teeth, you can stretch one arm. It's all about figuring out how to do that. And today I want to talk more about the power of speech. We are given speech, real intellectual, intelligent speech, because we have the ability to either create with it or destroy with it. And it's up to us. What are we going to be doing? Are we going to be creating or are we going to be destroying? When you say to someone, good morning, you're giving that person a good morning. you're actually creating that his morning will be good. If you say to someone, you stink, then trust me, you're making him stink, you know?
Exactly.
Mhm.
That's amazing that you are mentioning the idea of the power of speech, because it's such a powerful thing. The word abracadabra, it's actually an Hebrew word, and it means I will create as I speak.
Wow.
Abracadabra.
Wow.
And that's an amazing idea. The power of speech is just so powerful. Also, they say obviously you are what you think, because thoughts creates reality. But when you're saying it, it's like you bringing it down into the world, and you are in a way manifesting something.
Hmm.
That's why speech is considered uh,
An
like
action.
an action, a deed. Exactly. So I just want to share a quick thing about it. That happened about a week ago. So I was my daughter was asking me about an idea for her school science project. So I told her that she should take two jars and fill them with rice, and write on one "I love you," on the second "I hate you," and then
Mhm.
come every morning and just talk to the jars. Say to the one, "I love you, I love you, you're so sweet, I love you." And to the other one, say, "I hate you, you're terrible, I hate you."
Wow.
And she did that for a few days, and the results was astonishing. This is the "I love you," and the "I love you" jar just came out without any mold, hardly, just a little bit of mold. But the
Wow.
other one, the "I hate you," had full black and red mold on
Where is
it,
it?
and it was obviously thrown away
Mm.
by my daughter. But it was in a distinct
Oh my gosh.
difference between the two rices. The experiment
Wow.
worked. It was a successful experiment. It showed that the power of words and the power, even if to a rice. So imagine the effect that the words have on human beings, on um, on everything else.
Yeah, that's where we're gonna really. That's what we're focusing on. It all starts in this book that we started, Sefer Vayikra. It's all about sacrifices, which we don't bring anymore. We substituted it with speaking, with tefillah, with prayer. That's through speech. But the truth is, they also spoke when they brought it in the Beit Hamikdash. They would put their hands on the sacrifice, and then they would say, "I did this." It was called vidui, which means confession, but it also means hodaya, thanking. So when you have an opportunity to confess over something, you're also thanking Hashem. You're doing vidui and hodaya, saying thank you that I have
Mhm.
this opportunity to now fall, rectify it, so you could come back up.
Right.
And what's very cool is that this week's Parshat Tzav, Rashi says tzav means hurry up, let's go. Let's go. You got to do it now. Zrizut. You have to have alacrity. You have to enthusiasm. Get up and do it.
Right.
But how are they supposed to do it? They're commanded to get up and to have a fire always burning. Ish tukad al mizbeach lo tichbeh. How are you possibly going to always have that fire? That fire, how is it always going to burn? It's hard.
Esh tamid.
Ish tamid tukad al mizbeach. It's a constant fire, and you're tired sometimes. You're in the routine. How are you supposed to keep that fire? So what does Moshe say? He says, Tzav. Well, really, Hashem says to Moshe, Tzav, get up and with zrizut and get them to use their speech to keep themselves motivated. That's how you keep the fire burning. By using your speech. For example, I got this. I can do it. It's going to be great.
Positive affirmation.
Exactly. Positive affirmation. And since speech is creating, that means when you say that, I can do it. This party's going to be great. Guess what? The party's going to be great. Oh, this party sucks. Then that's the way it's going to be.
Right.
Always. And we even, in this story, I'm not going to read the whole story, but I'll tell you about it. There's this boy, Daiki, and he needs to train for competition. And he's breathing and he's doing visualization exercises, seeing
Hmm.
himself overcoming certain obstacles to overcome it. But then what happens? His sister and his father are playing a game and it's distracting him. And he's like, guys, can you keep it down? And the father says, actually, since you're only one person, it's not fair to make all of us have to be quiet. Why don't you go find another place? And he could have said, oh man, I hate them. And this is going to be terrible. You know what he says instead? He goes, it's kind of hot and loud in here anyway. Let me go outside, train outside. There's a lot of a better breeze and it's cooler and I'll be able to focus better. He says those words, and that's exactly what makes his reality. His attitude by speech. And that is the biggest secret of how to keep yourself motivated in life, how to be
Right.
successful really, and how to be a ninja of
Wow.
life is about saying things, knowing those things that will then trigger something in your brain that will then create the reality the way that is most beneficial for you.
Right. You can literally think about something that you want, and you want to see yourself as the way you define yourself, and just tell yourself that. Like if you want to, for example, be a martial art artist, or
Mhm.
you know or an influencer. So you need to tell yourself, I am the absolute best influencer, and I'm going to influence the world in the best possible way. And if you tell yourself that every day, if you tell yourself that you're a successful businessman or successful influencer or successful in whatever that you do, you will be that. You will be that because you are really what you think, and your thought creates the reality
Mhm.
that you are creating for yourself. But the thing is, then there is a plenty of secrets to it, since there is a constant battle that is happening within us.
Mm.
Who is going to literally take over our body, a mind, a spirit, which is our spiritual clothing, our garments of the
Mhm.
soul, which is our thought, speech, and action. So, so our thought, speech, and actions are like almost like a cosmic instrument that we are creating reality with.
Mm.
We have received it as a way for us to also understand that we have thought, speech, and action that are lower, and thought, speech, and action that are upper, which means there is the higher self, and then there is the lower self. There
Right.
is the godly soul, and then there is the animal soul.
Right.
So when we really understand that battle, and we choose to come and speak from the higher self,
Mhm.
the one in us that it's really just want to share altruistically, does not want to receive anything in return, or does it for any other intention rather than just being there for people and sharing with them, giving them the
Mhm.
information, tools to connect. Because a lot of the problems that we have is that people are outside themselves,
Mm.
and that's something external. And when we do something external, we might fall into the externality of our being, which is our lowest self. Our higher self is the internality of who we are.
Right. When we're talking about that's beautiful, and when we're talking about animal soul and godly soul, I think someone told me recently that they're put in the same body. That's not for our bad. It's actually for our good. And there's one pasuk in Dvarim in Deuteronomy where it says that when you go out to war against your enemy and you take a captive,
Mhm.
right? Ki tetzei lamilchama al oivecha, or im oivecha, remember?
Right,
Shavita shivyo.
right,
So I heard, I think it was Arav Zamir Cohen. He says that your enemy, Chazal say, is your animal soul, and you need to trap it. It doesn't say kill it. It doesn't say destroy it. It doesn't say kick it away.
right.
It says capture it. Vishavita shivyo. Shivyo also comes from the word
Exactly.
tshuva.
Yeah,
When you figure out how to use your animal soul to help the godly soul, to give it everything it needs, not to look at it as a bad guy.
exactly. It's not a bad guy
Right.
actually at all. It's also called nefesh behemit, which is the animal soul, but it's also called nefesh chiyunit,
Mm.
which means the essential soul. Why? Because when we are able to include it in our godliness, which is our desire to receive in order to share, not to receive for the self alone, when we can turn that desire to receive for the self alone,
Mm.
working and included in the desire to receive in order to share, and then we become a sharing human being, which is forces of the light, forces of the creator. Because it's all really comes down to acting like your acting like the creator. The creator is just unbelievable unconditional love that he gives to all created beings at all time, and unbelievable divine intervention and divine protection. And there is so many benefits when a human being is really connecting to God through his thought, speech, and action, through his garments of his animal soul and his godly soul. He could reach really height and connection that you could literally feel like you are the ocean. You know, there is the example that I give in my book that that you're like a drop, world of illusion. You're like a drop that falls into the ocean. And what happened to that drop? It becomes the ocean. But the drop is pretty much the whole ocean. Is in a drop is what we are. Human beings are just the whole entire universe is a human being. And that's a very powerful force of nature, you know, and we as long as we understand the oneness of creation, we can achieve anything. Humanity has reached a level that has never been even thought possible before. AI is literally taking over. Humans really have to up their game in many different ways,
Like
many
what?
different ways, because everybody become dispensable. AI is literally taking over the world. Many jobs, many skills will not be even needed anymore.
How are we going to compete with that then?
How are you going to compete with that? So we reach the world is changing and the world is becoming more what is your uniqueness? What is your godly mission? Which means the reason why you were created, which has to do with things that you love and you are good at.
Right.
And then finding that mission and then living that mission and doing good in the world and influencing the world from your godly essence,
Wow.
you know, and have only the intention of the benefit of whoever is watching, whoever is into, you know, engaging with the content to really receive the benefits that this content has on their godly soul and help them win the war. Everybody loses at times, but when you lose, you don't really even like the example that you gave, Eliyahu,
Which one?
im tetzeh lemilchama al
Oh, right.
oivecha, which means that it's also it doesn't say you have to fight the war. There is no war to fight, but when you come out to the war, shavita shavia, which means you can capture your animal soul and make that animal soul work for the godly soul and do what the godly soul wants and needs to do.
Right. You could also translate it as Vishavita Shivyo means, and you will trap your captive, meaning it will become your captive, but you will bring it back. It's all about bringing it back.
That's a beautiful, beautiful analogy of really what's happening inside of us.
Yeah, exactly.
Thank you for sharing that,
Someone
brother.
told me that David Ben Yehuda, I don't know if you know him, he told me that. It's a beautiful, beautiful idea. And when we're talking about how to be a ninja of life, it's all connected. It all has to do with number one, using your speech to get yourself have zrizut, to have alacrity, to have enthusiasm.
Right.
You kind of you have to have your own code words. Everyone knows what those are. Sometimes it doesn't work to use someone else's code words, and that's fun. For me, it's like, all right, this is going to be great. If I'm going somewhere, if I'm playing music in front of a bunch of people, it could be it's after a long day of work. I'm not necessarily in the mood, but I know that they're going to benefit more from me playing than I'll benefit if I don't play and I'll relax. I know that in my head, but there's always a separation between your brain and what you're really feeling. Not always, but a lot. That's why we put on tefillin, right? The tefillin are here and here to keep them united, but it's not very easy to have that going. So one of the things is to use your speech. This is going to be great. I'm going to do a great job. Like we said, also, this is very interesting. In
Yeah.
Vayikra and in Tzav, we're talking about what does the Kohen need to be zariz about? What does he need to have alacrity about? Is doing the Korban Olah. Olah is a very weird, very strange sacrifice because you burn everything up. No one gets to eat from it. And you only do it if you had the opportunity to do something good and didn't do it. A positive commandment that you didn't do. On the other hand, let's say there was a negative commandment, like don't steal, and you stole, you have to, and it was by accident, you didn't know it was someone else's money, you bring a chatat. So for transgressing a negative commandment, you bring a chatat that the Kohanim eat from. For not doing a positive commandment, like I didn't help that friend when I could have, nobody gets to eat from it. That is very, very strange. So
Yeah.
what does the Kohen say? He says you have to have alacrity, zrizut, to do the korban olah, because that's the problem the person had in the first place. He didn't have zrizut. He didn't help the person when he was supposed to. So now you better have zrizut and bring that sacrifice, but no one's going to get to eat from it. It gets burnt up completely, which is like a fast. Fasting is when no one gets to eat. But when you mess up and you steal by accident or break Shabbat or eat whatever by accident, you bring something, but that negative thing that you did, it actually could still feed Kohanim. Why? Because the Kohanim are always looking at you with a positive eye. That's their job. The Kohen's job is chesed, always to judge you favorably. Levi's job is more gvura. So they're different. They're guarding. They're usually the judges. Um, the Kohanim, they get to eat from it because they see the positivity. They know that through every mess up, you can bring it back. So it's just very interesting insight into how to you can live by all this stuff that we're reading in the Torah. It's very, very applicable, and it's a way to connect the animal and the godly soul together.
I like the idea. Like the idea. I
Yeah.
think that right now we're really wishing out an amazing time. I mean, next week is Passover, and it really is a very, very special, auspicious time where we really truly get to get out of Egypt. And Egypt represents all the barriers that we have, all the things that we know we need to work on and fix, all our addictions, all our, you know, little setbacks and times that we are really not feeling that we are at our best. We can always do more. We can always, sleep less, eat less, work hard and get things done and accomplish more and do good in the world so we can really flip the switch and and there's not going to be any more evil in the world.
Amen.
It was only going to be good. People will understand the oneness and people will start to be humble and kind towards one another in a true way. Not has to do with anything. No religion, no color of skin, no geographical location. We are all one family of humanity, and it's time for us to unite and come together and understand that we need to do this for our creator, because he is not doesn't belong to one nation. It belongs to all nations. The Torah was given in 70 languages, and everybody understands it. And there was many people and characters in the Torah that their job was to spread it out, and they did. And they spread it out, and now people know that there is a creator in the world, and science already proved it in many different ways. I did a video about how to make somebody who is completely non-believer to believe in God in a rational way.
Hmm.
And it's really interesting. It's on my feed. I
I'll check it
recommend
out.
people
Yeah,
to go check it out.
sounds amazing. The
Yeah,
power of speech. I think using our speech to say good things to people, to look for ways to compliment people, really, not well, authentically. You don't have to make it up. For yourself as well, judging yourself
right.
favorably with your speech. It's going to be great. I'm going to have a good day. It's going to be good. Good morning. Thank you. Simple things, but also, yeah, nice.
Exactly. Love yourself. Really work on self-love. Cultivate self-love, because it's really important. Because true love has to come from somebody who really loves themselves in a not in a selfish way, but in a way that just like just like when you go on a plane and there is the instructions of what happened if the plane crashes. There is two masks coming out of the ceiling, right? And if you have a child sitting next to you, you first put the mask on yourself, and then you put the mask on the child. And that it's because to help the child you need to be good first. And this is what also the concept of "V'ahavta l'recha kamocha," love the neighbor, which means that you need to love yourself in order to love the world and to love other people, and especially other people and your friends and the people in your home, in your community, your friends, your family, and everybody on earth, pretty much. Just wish everybody well, and bring the redemption and bring finally the end to all pain and suffering in the world.
Man, beautiful. Wow. Thank you, Uzi, so much.
Thank you for joining me today, Eliyahu
Of
Kraus.
course.
And this was being a ninja, becoming a ninja of
Yeah.
life.
Check out the book. It's on Amazon. You could order it, or if you know me personally, I'll give you a
How
signed
to be
copy.
a ninja of life part 2.
Part two.
Stay tuned to part 3 coming soon. Also, check out my book, World of Illusion Mindset of the Sages, on Amazon. Working on some few commercials on it online. Please like, share, and subscribe. See you at the next live video.